Bang Nam Úc nằm ở phần Nam Trung của Australia, có mật độ dân cư thấp, phần lớn dân số sống tập trung ở thủ phủ Adelaide. Đây là nơi có chi phí sinh hoạt rẻ hơn 12% so với các thành phố thủ phủ khác, là thành phố đáng sống nhất ở Australia và top 3 thành phố đáng sống nhất thế giới. Bang Nam Úc sở hữu những trường đại học xuất sắc và đều nằm trong top trường đại học chất lượng hàng đầu như Đại học Adelaide, top 66 đại học xuất sắc nhất thế giới, Đại học South Australia, top 363 đại học xuất sắc nhất thế giới, Đại học Flinders, top 425 đại học xuất sắc nhất thế giới, Đại học Torrens, top 1 đại học phát triển nhanh nhất Australia. Đăng ký tham dự sự kiện Shine with Australia để gặp gỡ đại diện bang Nam Úc và tư vấn 1-1 cùng với đại diện các trường đại học hàng đầu.
Hello everyone to South Australia session. So today we'll be sharing about the study, living and working in Adelaide. So first of all, very welcome everyone to this session, and then you will get to know more about Adelaide. So let me introduce myself. My name is Mason. I'm the market representative from Study Adelaide to look after Southeast Asia. So Study Adelaide, we are the state government agency that we here to promote Adelaide as a nation, as well as we do a lot of student support to support our international students while studying at least. Before I start the session, I would like to share a videos about these two student ambassadors from Vietnam that visited Adelaide in 2019. So how's Adelaide looks like for them? Let's go.
This trip is the most exciting experience I ever had in my life.
My first impression was say that Adelaide is multicultural. People come here and they bring their own culture to Adelaide and makes it richer and richer in culture.
The universities here have very good rankings in the world.
They have good environment and very good services to support the students here.
The campuses are all around the city. You have old buildings and modern buildings, and they're fantastic. They have the most innovative gadgets for every course.
Students here has great opportunities to express themselves.
We are exposed to a lot of experience here.
Coffee is a very strong culture in Australia.
I learned how to make a latte. I love latte. Very good. Adelaide makes me feel like I'm living in Harry Potter, but in modern life.
Anything that you want in the world, it happens here.
I think Vietnamese students will be amazed. We love Adelaide!
Adelaide is a center of wine in Australia. You can try the combination between the wine and the chocolate. There are a variety of food in Adelaide. The portion is much bigger than Vietnamese food. It tastes amazing.
This trip has changed my perspective.
You can do anything here. You can pursue your career, your future jobs. You can go anywhere.
I feel like I can do more to the world.
Students can learn to be independent here. It's easy for new students like me to adapt.
I make friends every day. The people are very friendly. They say hi on the street to even strangers, so I love it. The living expenses here are very affordable and reasonable for students. They don't have to spend a lot on transportation or accommodation. Coming here, it makes me want to explore. It's making me want to study abroad.
Adelaide is the beyond the rich city, not just the destination, but beyond your dreams.
It's been magical.
It looks great that they love Adelaide so much, and today we actually got two guests to join us to share about some experience as an international student who are studying, also work and opportunity for our international students in Adelaide. So first of all, we got Richard Trent from one of our university here. So Richard, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit more to the audience?
Hi everyone, my name is Richard or Khôi. Trần Thiên Khôi. I'm from Ho Chi Minh City and I arrived in Adelaide in 2018 and I've been here for 5 years. I'm currently studying a double bachelor of laws and marketing at UniSA. I'm very lucky to know many wonderful people here like Jody, Mason and Sarah, and also the Faculty of International Business. And I'm also the president of the Vietnamese Student Association in Adelaide, VISA. We assist a Vietnamese student with daily life and work, housing, any queries that you might have. You might have to share just a quick few sentences in Vietnamese just for them to know
go for it.
About the organization. Như các bạn thì mình là Khôi, thì mình là chủ tịch của Hội Sinh viên Việt Nam tại thành phố Adelaide. Thì cái nhóm của mình sẽ hỗ trợ các bạn về nhà cửa, công việc, học tập, lái xe, tất cả mọi thứ. Thì nếu mà các bạn có dự định qua đây thì các bạn có thể tham gia Hội Sinh viên Việt Nam tại Adelaide. Thì mình có một fanpage và một group. Thì khi mà các bạn follow và tham gia group thì các bạn sẽ có thể là đọc được những cái thread. Tụi mình cũng có những cái video để hướng dẫn các bạn làm sao để chuẩn bị qua đây, rồi ở đây thì tìm nhà, tìm việc như thế nào. Thì nếu mà các bạn muốn thì các bạn có thể follow và xem những cái video đó để chúng ta chuẩn bị tốt nhất trước khi qua đây.
Yeah, a little bit fun fact about Richard that you might not know that Richard is actually the student of the year, International Student of the Year in Study Adelaide International Student Awards in 2019. Very excellent and outstanding students. And next to Richard, we got Jody. So Jody is the Communication and Engagement Manager in Study Adelaide. So Jody, welcome.
Thank you, and xin chào everybody. It's great to be here and talk a little bit about what Study Adelaide does. Just to introduce myself, I'm the Communications and Engagement Manager with Study Adelaide. I work a lot with students, but more and more my role involves engagement with employers, including government and private enterprise, and talking to them about international students and what they can bring to their companies. So a very exciting and diverse role.
So Jody, you got a lot of experience working with the local employer about what opportunity there is for international students, right?
Absolutely. I work in sectors across all of Adelaide, but also regional South Australia. So I talk to employers basically on a daily basis.
Great. Because Jody, we're going to share a lot of the insight about the job opportunity in Adelaide with us. Therefore, international students who are studying here, what is the job opportunity for them? So before we start the sharing from our guests, I would like to share a little bit snapshot about Adelaide. So Adelaide is the capital city of South Australia. It's about 1.4 million people in Adelaide, and people in Adelaide is very welcoming and friendly. As you can feel from here that we are a very welcoming and friendly community, right? And then I want to share some three fun fact about Adelaide as well. The first one is the Nobel Prize capital. So in the whole Australia, there's actually 15 Nobel Prize laureates, and 5 of them is actually produced in South Australia, which makes us produce the most Nobel Prize laureate in Australia, which where we've been called as the Nobel Prize capital. The second fun fact is we also the festival state. The South Australia, we organize more than 500 different activity or festivals throughout the years. So there's a lot of things running in the calendar year, and that's why we know as the festival state as well. If you're studying here, there's a lot of things that you can experience and you can try while studying. The last one I want to share is we also a state that called as a state of the forward thinking. So Adelaide, South Australia, we've been doing a lot of very first and innovative things, such as we are the first city in Australia that roll out 3G networks. It's a long time ago, I know, right? It's 5G now. But back then, we are the first state that roll out the 3G network. And we're also the first state that trial the public smart lighting. And we are the first city to criminalize sexual and racial discriminations. And our council is the first council that gives the woman access to votes and to recognize indigenous land rights and also a lot of things. We're also the first state in Australia that become the smart city. So the city council actually use a lot of data collected from the resident businesses to do a lot of manage the city, to do a lot of decision making on managing the cities. Been sharing some of the fun fact about Adelaide. So Richard, from your perspective as international students, right? What's your impressions toward Adelaide?
So before I came to Adelaide, I hadn't known much about Adelaide because, most Vietnamese only know about Sydney and Melbourne. But after living here for a few years, I came to truly appreciate the beauty of Adelaide. So first, it has beautiful scenery. So you have Adelaide in the middle, and you have the ocean to one side and the hill or the mountain to the other. So you basically can go to swim at the beach or go camping in the bush was like 30 minutes away.
Yeah, that's right. So in one day you could do both.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh.
Go for a hike, then go down the beach, cool off.
I wish that. I love the ocean, so I can like go and swim every day in the year.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. And second is the people. They are very friendly. There are less people here, meaning that it's more calm and unrushed lifestyle. So you basically have a very good study, work, and life balance. So whereas in the city, it's very rushing. You have to, go back and forth from work and study. You don't have that time to enjoy yourself, and you don't have that proper time to enjoy friends.
You don't have those big commute times.
Yeah.
So a lot of your time is your own to spend how you like it. Yeah.
And people are very friendly and approachable. It's very easy to make a friend. I feel like there's more of a sense of support. So you can find support at uni, at City Adelaide, and pretty much, your family and people around are very supportive. If you need a favor, you can ask them, and they more likely than not, they're very happy to help you.
Yeah.
And and events, right? We have tons of events here with student association, club at uni. You can pretty much find anything that you like. There'll be a club for it. So if you like martial arts, if you like writing, public speaking, you name it, every club will be out there for you to join. And even we study at like through Canada, you see like 20 events coming up.
Yes, Study Adelaide has a big student support program. So we want to make sure when you get here, you enjoy your time here. And so the events range from the practical, so things like helping you to get a job, so writing your CV or writing a cover letter, interview skills, that kind of thing, all the way through to really fun things. So when you first arrive, we have a welcome party twice a year. We have events like speed friending, so an opportunity to make lots of new friends from lots of different backgrounds. We do movie days. We do a wine event, surf lifesaving event. We've got a Halloween dance party coming up in a couple of weeks' time, which is going to be fantastic. That's a new event. So lots and lots of different ways that you can connect and feel a part of the community.
Yeah, definitely. And one last thing that I feel very important to address is there's no discrimination here. So I rarely feel discriminated at all. So everyone is very inclusive. SA is actually committed to become, is already and committed to becoming more multicultural. So everyone is very respecting of your nationality, your descendants. So you basically find you'll be very comfortable at home, studying here, working here. And especially there's a very strong Vietnamese community here that will help you, with everything, housing and jobs. So yeah, I think it's an ideal destination for study and immigration.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a lot of support there. Like when you first arrive, do you feel like a panic or like don't know what to do or like don't know where to seek support, or like how do you how long time you use to plan into Adelaide?
In terms of planning, because I came to Adelaide when I was 17, so I was a minor. So I actually have a homestay arranged for me. So I came to that homestay and people helped me. But in general, if you come to Adelaide, you find a home. People are very helpful. Just ask, how to do this. They'll show you. Even if you go to the shop, you don't know what to do or how to do certain things. Just ask people there. They'll show you how to do it. There won't be any problem at all.
It's very friendly community here. I think it's rather than other than friendly community, right? There's another things that people talk about Adelaide is about the lower cost of living, because every time when international students they are thinking to study abroad, like Vietnamese students they are thinking to study abroad, especially go to for example UK, US, Australia, they will feel like the cost of living gonna be higher. There is gonna be a huge investment, tuition fee, etc., etc. But people been discussing about the cost of living in Adelaide is quite low compared to some of other cities. Like, how do you feel about this, about the cost of living, Richard?
What you said is very true, because here I think for me usually range from about $1,500 to $1,800 a month. So I think it's very affordable. And if you find a job and you work for 3 days a week, I think that's pretty much going to be good to cover all the expenses that you might. And one tip that I'll share with anyone intending to study abroad is to cook your own food. That's the best way to save money, because it can be very costly if you eat outside every day. Yeah.
Get your skills up at home. Yeah. Yeah.
This is why people always say, like, if you study abroad, not only learn how to study but also learn how to cooking, right? Yeah. I think it's actually quite close to what we oversee about the cost of living, because here I got a chart to talk about the average monthly student's budget in Adelaide. So compared to other cities, the living cost is slightly lower. And as you can see from the draft, like we got a rent, like if you rent a house, apartment is about $800 per month, and then utility bills is about like $100 per month. And as Richard mentioned, the grocery is really cheap in Australia in general. Like if you buy a whole roast chicken, let's say, it's only like $9 to $10, so it's quite cheap. Phone and internet, entertainment, public transport. So the public transport in Adelaide is actually in South Australia is actually very affordable compared to other states in Australia. If you are studying uni or college, if you are tertiary students, you only need to pay $53 for 28 days pass with unlimited travel for tertiary students. So every state in Australia is different. Some state international student doesn't enjoy the student discount, but in South Australia, our international students do enjoy the public transport discount as local international students. And then another thing is the entertainment's $200 per month, right? Besides that, there's a lot of events or activities being organized by institution or uni. Study Adelaide, we also organize a lot of low cost or no cost event. For example, movie night. So Jody, you'll be talking about our study. We do a lot of events to support international students. Do you want to share a bit more about the entertainment side, or like how they can get the best experience when they are studying here?
Like I said earlier, we have a whole range of events. And so some of them are either free or we put only a nominal fee on them. So smaller group things that we do include speed friending, where you also get your coffee and something to eat, and opportunity to make friends. We have game days where with board games and things like that. As Mason mentioned, we do the movie afternoons, so they come up every couple of months or so. Generally when there's a big blockbuster comes to town, so we might do a movie night for that. And that, again, is only a really nominal charge for students, like about $5, includes popcorn, so it's a winner. But we also do some things like a beach day, a wine education event, and for the first time we're doing a Halloween dance party, because we always find that we always have music at all of our events, and we find that students love to get on the dance floor. So we thought, all right, let's create a dance party for them. And so all of these events, there's something on regularly. You'll find something on basically on a weekly basis. And one of the other things we do, which are fantastic for students, and you can start with these offshore as well, is English language classes, because they're held online. And they are a great way to also meet people, because you can start conversations. They're generally around theme, but it allows people to actually have conversations, practice their English, but at the same time make some friends. So there's a whole range of things, and on top of that we do other information sessions around employment. So again, opportunities to meet people, no cost. And so fantastic opportunities.
Nice. And Richard, like, do you have any experience, like, do you join some of the study Adelaide activities, or how's your overall experience in terms of lifestyle, like in Adelaide?
I've been through, so many City LA activities. And actually, City LA is a very big sponsor of our group. So we have many activities that, like wine, going to the Barossa Valley to taste wine. And thanks to City LA, we had a very wonderful trip, and many other cultural activities. And to be honest, there are more activities that you can join because with study and work, like you have to balance it.
Yeah.
And so I think there are plenty of activities for you to do here. People say that Melbourne and Sydney can be more entertaining, but I feel like it's equally here.
I think you talked about it before about having time here. So because you've got that that time to make up your mind what you do. You can pick and choose, can't you? You don't have to feel that you're missing out. You get that great balance between what your work life is, your study, and the activities that you choose. One of the things that Study Adelaide also does is subsidise trips to regional South Australia. So you mentioned wine tasting in the Barossa, so that's one thing. But there might be trips to Kangaroo Island or to the Flinders Ranges or down to the south coast around Victor Harbour, that kind of thing. And so Study Adelaide subsidises those trips for international students and advertises them regularly. And they're a fantastic way to get out and about to see South Australia at a reasonable cost, but also meet some other people.
I think one thing I'll add is you can get to see a koala just like 50 minutes from the city. So basically take a bus, go to like a national reserve, and there you go. And dolphins and so many other wonderful.
You can get close to nature here, can't you?
Yeah.
That's all free. I have seen international students share footage of koalas in their backyard. So if you happen to live closer to the the hillside of Adelaide, you might find a koala in your backyard.
It's kind of like very, very good experience, because if you wanted to study abroad, you not only want to experience the uni life, but you also want to explore the country as much as possible. So as Jody said, like during the semester break, I think there's a lot of international students. They like to take the time during the sem break with a group of friends during a so-called road trip, which is a group of friends that travel to other town and to the city to do a 3 days, 4 night trip, kind of like things, right? But Richard also mentioned something that there's a lot of things that you can enjoy and do in Adelaide, but don't forget about your study. You need to have a balance. So Richard, do you like work part-time or during your study, because there's so much of entertainment and then like you still need to study? Do you still work part-time or?
Yes, I do. I used to work for a vegetarian takeaway shop. There are so many jobs, especially in our group. So we have a restaurant owner and many type of jobs advertised in our group. So if you come to Adelaide, please join our group, and you will definitely find a job to do. And the best thing is, because Adelaide is not very big, very expanded, you can travel to work quite quickly, and just use transport, like public transport will do. You don't need a car. It's very cheap to travel and it's very quick. So you basically can work over the city, and so it's very easy to get a job. So please be assured that you get a job once you get here. Not only part-time like hospitality or restaurant jobs, but in the long term, if you work hard and you make connection with people, I think that you're likely to find like a permanent full-time job after graduation, because there are jobs here, just that you have to find hard enough and you know the right people. I'm interning for a marketing agency at the moment, and they're very welcoming. It's a lovely environment here. So yeah, and my friends have got jobs, got permanent residence after graduation, even before graduation. Yeah. So it's a very good sign.
So that pathway to start a career.
Yeah.
Your friends have seen quite a lot of success there. And I have to say, Mason, we're hearing more and more about students. So like Richard, who's got an internship now, we're hearing more and more about students that are getting internships or part-time work in their field of study while they are studying, which sets them up to start a career once they graduate, which is really exciting.
Well, we talk about part-time job, right? I actually want to show videos at the moment. So let's see what the video is. So yes, that is the Study Adelaide Job Shop program that the job shop is open. So we're gonna ask Jody. So Jody, tell us a little bit more job shop, because I know you've been working a lot with this job shop program. So what is there any story behind or how it really works and how it really benefits international students?
Yeah, there's a great story behind it, Mason, because I think how it started just shows the support in the community for international students. So we were having a meeting with some business leaders in Adelaide. This is before the borders opened again. And we're talking about the borders are going to open soon. When students start returning, we want them to feel supported and welcomed. And these business and leaders were saying, yes, we're there. We'll support you any way we can. But we also have job vacancies that we need to fill. Can we work together to make so that we can meet the students and we can start employing them? And we said, well, how about you even start employing them before they return to Adelaide? Like, how good would that be, that if you're coming to Adelaide, you can already have a job lined up? And they said, yeah, we can make that work. How do we need to go about this? So we started Job Shop. And the exciting thing about Job Shop is all of the employers that are on there, so it's studyadelaide.com/job shop, all those employers are people that have supported international students in the past. They have very diverse and multicultural workplaces. They understand if there are limitations for students to work while they're studying, they can be flexible, all those things. And what they did was they modified their application process so that students, while they were overseas, could still apply and they wouldn't get rejected because they weren't yet living here. And so all of their processes have a dedicated person at the other end that is looking at the applications. So it's not to say that everyone is going to get the job that they apply for, but they're going to get a good look in and they're going to have every opportunity to get a job. And the other exciting thing is that the number of jobs on Job Shop has continued to grow since we launched this at the end of January this year. All of the employers continue to support it. I'm very happy. And more employers are coming onto Job Shop. So we started off with a lot of jobs in hospitality, in retail, fast food, that kind of thing. And now we've expanded more. We've got more hotels on board. We've got some aged care facilities on board. So they can offer roles that don't require any training, like kitchen hand work, that kind of thing. But they can also offer students that are studying health disciplines. They might be able to work in aged care as a support worker, for example, which means they're starting to get really valuable experience for when they finish their role. And soon we will have early childhood providers on the Job Shop. So again, anyone that's coming here and studying teaching or early childhood, once they get to a certain point in their qualifications, they can start working part-time in childcare centres, maybe even relief teaching. So there's opportunities for a lot of students coming on board. But you just need to keep an eye on it because it's growing all the time.
Yeah, I think the hardest hurdle is getting the first job. Once you get the first job, I think the second and third become easier.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the environment. Yeah.
But I think the listening can just feel really comfortable that they will be welcome in these places and they will be supported. And so even if you haven't worked part-time before, this is a great way to start your working life in Australia.
I feel like there's actually a lot of people that might misunderstand that there is no job or part-time opportunity for international students in Adelaide compared to other cities, right? But from sharing from Richard and Jody, it's actually sounds like there's a lot of jobs. Like Richard said, there's a lot of employers reach out to their group. So the group is called, what's it called, Richard?
Can I say in Vietnamese?
Yeah.
Hội sinh viên Việt Nam tại Adelaide. Vietnamese International Student in Adelaide.
Vietnamese
Yes,
international
that's the one.
student.
Yeah.
So is that on Facebook?
And,
It's a
on
Facebook group.
and Instagram.
Yeah.
And Instagram.
So remember to join it. Be part of the community, and then you can talk to Richard there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and so keep an eye on Job Shop, but importantly, join Study Adelaide and sign up for the Study Adelaide newsletter, which is at our website, studyadelaide.com, and you'll see all the events that we've been talking about are regularly promoted. But also when we have new things come on Job Shop or we have new events that support employability, then so things like writing a CV workshop or interview skills or networking, then you can see them coming up and advertise in that newsletter and make sure you come along.
I think we kind of like solve the myth here that there's a lot of jobs out there. That's why we got Richard sharing about. That's why we got Jody talk about Job Shop, and the employers are wanted international students back because there's a lot of jobs waiting people to fill in. So we kind of like solve the myth that there's a no job perception. But how about the salary? Like, is it the salary will be lower compared to other cities, or actually the salary is like how do you will talk about the part-time salary?
Yeah, the salary is the same. There's a minimum wage in Australia, and so employers have to provide that minimum wage. There's also penalty wages paid for working on things like public holidays. So students can rest assured that they'll be paid well here, they'll be paid just like they are in other cities. The advantage that they have is they won't be commuting long distance to jobs. You know, there are other advantages on top of that.
Which is very nice. So you got the same pace if you work part-time, but you got less time to commute and you got a lower cost of living while you are studying. So which is a very good thing. But a lot of students, they're international students, they might concern about they not only want to work during study as a part-time, but they also want to have a future career after finish their study. What is the future career looks like? So in this May, Study Adelaide, we actually host a group of agents overseas to have a tour in Adelaide. So we bring them to some talk to some industry leader as well to see what is the job opportunity for our international students in Adelaide. And let's go and let's have a hear about what they talk about the job opportunity.
I was really very grateful to be part of this Study Adelaide tour. This is my first time in Adelaide and I was very amazed. The Filipino students would love Adelaide. It has a low cost of living, friendly people, good food.
It is my very first time to Australia, and of course the first time I am here in Adelaide. I'm very excited to discover every new thing.
The city is really nice. It's kind of chilling and warm, multicultural. You can go everywhere in the short of time because the public transport is really good. And the people here is so nice. They're smiling and welcoming. If you are international student, don't worry. Here is the best place for you.
The weather, the bars, the nightclubs, and it's perfect. South Australia has such an amazing beaches, and around Adelaide, 1, 2, 3 hours, it's plenty of wineries, the best wine in Australia. You come to South Australia, have fun, dance, enjoy, learn English, study, and open the doors for your future.
There is so special pathway for international students who would like to study here and immigrate here.
The most attractive feature for Adelaide, there is lots of job opportunities.
Why the student study in Adelaide, they can work in part-time job.
My Latin American students, that they are looking for a job when they are going to arrive here. That's the plan, to have an opportunity in South Australia in hospitality.
I learned that there is a great opportunity for Filipino students who have background in information technology to study cybersecurity.
I kind of say that here is the hub of IT and technologies. For a student from Thailand, if they are have the engineering background, science background, they can develop their skill here and bring the skill to home or even get a job after graduating.
Filipino students to study culinary program, hospitality, nursing. They love Adelaide.
We did taste some wine and they were delicious. Cheese was amazing. I can see that the horticulture is a very attractive sector for South Korean students as well.
And I feel that the city is now do a quite well preparation to welcome international students after COVID time. And I feel that international students, when they come here, they will have great opportunity to have education and also job opportunity after graduation.
All right, so looks like there's a lot of job opportunity waiting for international students after they finish studies. So according to the data from the Department of Innovation and Skill, there is 155,000 jobs needed or skills labor shortage in level skill 1 and level skill 2 in the next coming 5 years. So we recognize the international students is one of the pools that can fill up all these jobs gap, which means there's a lot of opportunity for international students. But you might wonder, what is the field or what is the industry that will need a lot of people, right? So we actually got some growth sector in South Australia, including high technology, health and medical, creative industry, defense, or we got some space industry is also a growth sector in South Australia. Tourism is another one, energy, mining, food, wine, and agribusiness. All this is the growth sector in South Australia, not to mention business and finance. Because when every sector is growing, definitely they will need a lot of people doing the business and finance, right? So since Jody have a lot of the connection with employee in all those industry, I'm gonna pick some of the industry, Jody, for you to share about for our international students. And I realized like the high technology is actually one of the very well after industry or courses for Vietnamese students. So would you like to share about some IT industry in Adelaide?
Yeah, absolutely, Mason. I think around the world, we're seeing a lot of growth in these jobs of the future, and there's people that talk about there's going to be jobs happen that we haven't even heard about yet. And so we're really starting to see some of those things grow and become really high demand. So I'm talking about things like cybersecurity, data analytics, cloud technology, software development, a whole raft of things that courses are offered on in Adelaide, but excitingly, students can actually stay on and work in those fields in Adelaide. And so we've got two major hubs for these jobs in Adelaide. One is called Lot 14, and that's based in the city, and the other one is called Tonsley, which is based not far from Flinders University in the southern suburbs. And both of these are home to huge businesses, including global companies. And I've got a list here if you don't mind me reading from it, Mason. So places like, global leaders like Amazon, Google, Accenture, Microsoft, the MIT Big Data Living Lab are all based here in Adelaide now and have requirements to hire lots of people over like Mason said, over the next 5 years. I think a great example as well is we have, and they're not necessarily based in these high-tech hubs that we have, but we have the big four consulting firms are based here in Adelaide as well. So Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, etc. And we've seen, and a great example is PwC setting up a skilled services hub here in Adelaide. Now they're going to need another 700 people by June next year, another 2,000 on top of that by 2025, because that is growing at such a great rate. And a big part of that growth is being driven by these high-tech roles. And so there's opportunities there for students, both while they're studying, like we said before, that there's opportunity to work part-time, but then get into an amazing career once you've graduated. We also home to the Australian Space Agency here, again offering a range of high-tech roles, and there's several companies that are based here. They started as startups and are booming now as well, because space just isn't about exploring the moon. Space has a lot of applications in things like agriculture, that you don't realise, and so many opportunities for students in those industries. So there is a lot of investment in high tech here by the state government, but also private companies, and we also see that growth of entrepreneurs here, and them being supported in places like these hubs. So it's a pretty exciting time. If that's your interest, if high tech is your interest, then it's a great opportunity to come and do these courses. We're seeing the universities partner up with some of these big companies and offer new degrees. They're based in digital tech. So certainly some great opportunities.
So if you study here, you probably have the opportunity to join the Google team or the Amazon team, be part of it, join our little silicon in Adelaide. And there's one of the fun facts I want to share with everyone as well. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, yes, there are the big companies here, but there's also some really exciting small businesses that you could come in on the ground floor with those and grow with those, or use them as a step to join a bigger company. You know, you don't necessarily have to start out in a big company, and I think that's a really good message for students as well, that there's opportunities at every level and you can contribute and have an amazing career.
So it's a process that you start from the little, and then you get growing in your career, in your future. But Jodie has mentioned about the Australian Space Agency. I want to share one fun fact about Adelaide. So the first Australian astronaut, Sir Andy Thomas, is actually from the University of Adelaide. That's why we've been called as the space state of Australia as well. So the next industry I want Jodie to share a little bit more about is the creative industry, because there's a lot of demands in the creative industry. Like a lot of people start become a YouTuber, TikToker, produce a lot of media, things like that, right? So how about the creative industry looks like in Adelaide?
This is another great opportunity for students, and what we've seen is we've had some major companies move to Adelaide, and I'm talking companies like the Technicolor, creative industries that are responsible for some of the big Hollywood blockbusters, have moved to Adelaide, one, to get access to talent, but also because Adelaide provides a great lifestyle for their staff, and so a perfect place to set up shop, if you like. And so because of that, and because of the talent, because of the courses that are offered here, not only just in our universities, but in some of our other smaller providers and even some of our vet providers, there's a whole range of opportunities coming out of that for students that are interested in the creative industries. So it's not just the movies, there's gaming, animation, special effects, all sorts of things in that field. But I think because, as you alluded to before, Mason, we're known as the festival state. And so there are a lot of festivals and events here. And so there's a lot of avenues for people to be creative in other things, everything from fashion through to event management and event development. So we do see opportunities for students there. I had a meeting recently with the creative industries team for the state government's Department of Innovation and Skills, and they were telling me about all the different job opportunities, again, even in small companies right through to some of these big companies. So Technicolor, Rising Sun, some of these big movie production companies. We alluded as well before to that sort of arts and cultural festival scene, but there's other things that come into that, other festivals that students can get involved in and maybe even work in. So other cultural festivals, but everything from wine, and even a cheese festival is here. So it all contributes to a really creative environment. If you are predisposed to that sort of high-tech side of the creative industries, yes, certainly lots of opportunities here.
Can I just, let's just finish. I'll quickly add something.
No, you go.
All right. Because it's very good here. Because if you like design, if you try, hone your craft and be good at it. I know what my friend working freelance for 3 companies.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah.
There's definitely. So just whether you're passionate and you want to get good at it, you definitely get a job. And this one, and if you enjoy communication, definitely check out studying communication here, because I have a passion for radio, and I went to the Baguio campus, and we have a lovely, very modern studio, like radio station.
Yes.
And you can do all type of practice. You do like very up to like state of the art facility, and you study all the the new current affairs stuff. So it's gonna be very up to date, and you'll be very happy if you like education.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing with our institutions here. A lot of the technology here that students get access to, and that's across all disciplines, not just the creative industries. It's very much state of the art facilities that you get access to as a student, and that puts you in good stead when you start your career. You already have the opportunity to use a lot of this technology. So I don't know, did that answer your question about the creative industries opportunities?
Sounds like there's a lot of things happening in the industry.
Yeah, I find it absolutely, it's actually awesome when you get to speak to people. Like I spoke to Technicolor this morning, and they were talking about other things that they're developing to try and attract people to come and work for them in Adelaide. And so the job opportunities are just enormous in that field.
It's very good to hear from your perspective, Jodie, because you are the one that really go to talk to the industry people and then first-hand information directly from the industry that is straight from what they need, right? But how about health and medical industry? Like, have you had some chances to talk to people from the health and medical industry?
Yes, absolutely. I think our state is quite progressive when it comes to health and medical research, so much so that we have the SA Biomed City, which has been set up over the last several years. Again, I've just got to refer to my notes because I'm not very good at remembering numbers, but so it's a $3.8 billion health and medical innovation district. So that has at the heart of it the South Australian Health and Medical Research Institute. Right next door to that is the Royal Adelaide Hospital. Only last week it was announced we're building a brand new Women's and Children's Hospital, which will all be part of that precinct. The universities have their health facilities. What are they called? I've forgotten what it's called.
It's next to the
health buildings. So UniSA and Uni Adelaide both have their health buildings there.
Really close.
It's okay, Jodie. I will share photos of the biomedical precincts for you here. All right.
Okay, it'll show you everything all in this group. But just being built at the moment is the Bragg Centre for Proton Therapy and Research, and so that's a different kind of treatment centre for cancer, and that'll be the first one of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere. So for people that need that treatment, in the past they've had to go to other cities like Boston in America to get the treatment, and now they'll be able to do that in Adelaide, and it'll be an amazing opportunity as well for students because of the different things that they can get employed in and get involved in. From a wider perspective, there is demand for doctors, dentists, pharmacists, right through to nursing, exactly, and nurses across all fields of nursing, including aged care. And that's just not in the Adelaide region, that is across South Australia. So we have some major regional centres, ranging from several thousand people up to 20-odd thousand people. They all have regional hospitals and medical centres that are all in need of staff. And that also includes allied health staff. So we're talking about speech pathologists, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, social workers, psychologists.
Care.
They're all in demand. Yeah, absolutely. And then that's sort of in the disability and aged care sectors, there is a need for people that have studied those disciplines to, they're specifically trained to work after people in those areas. So there are lots and lots of opportunities for students to get employed, and they're very welcome in the health sector. International students are really recognised for perhaps the cultural nuances of where you come from, where particularly working with older people and that culture where older people live in your family, so you bring those beautiful family values into working in health. So very much a valued part of our health system, and certainly many, many opportunities.
Yeah, Jodie has mentioned, based on what you're sharing, there's a lot of jobs opportunity for international students across all the industry. We're not going to talk about all the growth industry in Adelaide today, otherwise it's gonna be a 5-hour session, I reckon. But we got the idea, right? There's a lot of job opportunity in all this growth sector in Adelaide. So, but even Jodie, you mentioned that there's a lot of job opportunity for students, but international students, they always have a concern about, even there's a lot of job out there, but will they able to get a job without a PR visa? They always been talking that, if I'm holding a temporary visa, I'm not a permanent residency, I can't get a job. Like, is that true? Or like, Richard, do we have what do you think about it? Like, people are worried about not able to get a job without a permanent resident visa, since you are still a student, right? Will you have this kind of worry?
I don't think that's of any significance at all, because most employers will be concerned about whether you're able to work full time or not. How many hours are you able to work during a week? And so I think that's the main concern. They're not too worried about, are you having like a temporary graduate visa, or you have PR, or you only some like unique position that require PR or citizenship. But I would say for the majority, if you have, working rights and you have the skill and fit for the company, they'll take you in. So yeah.
I think in the past, Mason, there has been some confusion by employers around hiring of international students. So worried that they might have to sponsor students, or just misunderstanding how things work. So Study Adelaide's been working a lot with employers and also recruitment agencies to educate them about the ease of hiring international students. Because what happens is once an international student has studied in South Australia, they can access a temporary graduate visa called the 485, which gives them really good post-study work rights. So in in Adelaide, you get an extra year. So that means if you've studied a bachelor's degree, you can work for up to 3 years. So the message that we really try and get out to employers is an international student will have this visa, which means you can employ them just like you can employ you can employ a local. That's the message. Employ an international student just like a local, and they can work for an extensive amount of time. We know a lot of students come here to study their masters, and a master's degree will give a student up to 4 years post-study work rights. And in that time, the students will often apply for their PR or take the next step. And so employers, if they just they can look at international students on the same playing field as a local, and they've got them for a decent amount of time. So the more and more we get them out there, we can see employers go, oh yeah, and then the international students come with other benefits, because they are people that are really resilient. They've been educated here, so they've got a South Australian qualification, but they can bring experience from their home countries. They can really add to the diversity in a workplace. And so lots of really good stories come out of employing international students in your workforce. So more and more, we don't see that as a problem. So like Richard said, a lot of his friends have started to get jobs and have found that pathway quite easy.
So maybe it's in the past when, like many years ago, when the local business or employer, they don't have the knowledge about all these visa things, so they kind of like worry to hire international students. But with all these communications we will do to the local community or the local employers, it's actually changed the perception of the opportunity for students, international students in Adelaide, right? Yeah, so that's why now Jody mentioned that they are more aware of the advantage of hiring international students. There's more advantage. So Richard also mentioned that he's not worried about the future of not able to get a job without a PR visa, which is a very positive message. And Jody's mentioned about the visa advantage, the post-study work visa. So now we're going to give you a very quick snapshot about the visa advantage for students who study in South Australia. So if students who study in South Australia, they get an additional years of post-study work, right? So as you can see from the graph, if you are studying in Adelaide for bachelor degree, right? Initially, the post-study work visa is 2 years in Australia, but because you study in a regional area, which is besides then Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, the rest of the Australia is considered as classified as the regional area. You got 2 years plus additional years of post-study work, right? Which means you're able to stay 3 years after you finish your bachelor degree. Jody mentioned again just now, if you study the master degree, you get a 4 years, an additional year of post-study visa, which allow you to stay 4 years here to live and study. So there's some visa advantage. And then if you plan to stay here longer, there is some advantage for you to apply for the state nomination visa. So for example, there is more than 500 skill occupation available, and then there might be a waiver for international students from South Australia to get waiver for English and work experience. They got a bonus point for international students who are studying in Adelaide. They got a lot of advantage for students who are planning to stay here longer after they finish their studies. So Richard, how about you? Are you planning to stay here after you finish study, or do you got any idea of your pathway?
I really enjoy staying here, and I hope soon become a South Australian.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we kind of like have some time limit here, so we're gonna do a little bit wrap up. So for Richard, so you might share some of your sharing for international students who are planted or like they consider to thinking to study abroad, especially for Vietnamese students.
Okay, I'll share 3 tips. So join student association at uni, the Vietnamese Student Association, make friends with people because that's going to be a big part of your study. Also, the second thing is hone your communication skill. It's very important because I think Jody agree with me that Australians in general very value communication skill, regardless of your industry. So either you work in, the more you lean towards social industry, the better your communication skill have to be. And once you get that, work on your self-study. I think that's the biggest thing that uni here teach, that the ability to self-study is very important. So once you graduate uni, you study on a job, you do further research on what you do and get better in your trade. And I think that's a key point. And finally is exploring all opportunities that you come across and build a solid connection with people. And because here is as much as what you know and who you know. Yeah, get your job.
Especially Adelaide is very compact city. So I feel like it's very easy for you to help to build out a connection with the people within the city, because you might meet them in a daily basis or you might just meet them on the street. So it's very easy for international students to really blend into the community, right? Yeah. And Jody, to wrap up this, any last words for you for our international students, Vietnamese international students who are planning to come to study here?
I thought you were going to say if they're planning on studying abroad. My first tip was going to be choose Adelaide. My second tip is be confident, because you're already brave. You've already chosen to study abroad and make that big step from leaving your home country and coming to another country where English is your second language. But be confident. Don't just hang around or be friends with your Vietnamese friendship group. I know they're very valuable and they're very supportive, but step outside of them and be confident in your language abilities and your ability to make other friends, because the sooner you do that, and like Richard said, take every opportunity to connect with other people, the better your experience is going to be here, both personally but also professionally down the track. And put your hand up for every opportunity that comes your way. So yeah, my advice is be confident. You're already awesome. And by being more confident, the sky is the limit.
There's a lot of opportunity for international students out there, regardless of the life experience or the career development as well in Adelaide, right? So I think it's very good sessions today. Thanks for sharing from Richard as well as Jody. Very informative about the studying, living, and working information about Adelaide. So down the track, later today, there is still some institution will be joining on our virtual fair. So if you haven't made an appointment, you can able to meet them later today to hear about what program they offer, what is the opportunity, how's the student life in the campus, etc., etc. So meet them, and we welcome and look forward to welcome you in Adelaide, right? So I think that's all for today. Remember to subscribe our newsletter, so Study newsletter. If you were able to come here, remember Richard, we got a very strong Vietnamese community here ready to support you as well as study Adelaide. So I think that's for today. All right. Thank you everyone, and thanks Jody and Richard again.
Thank you.
See you everyone.